It don't take that long to get naked. It don't take that long to get naked. Where y'all at?
Quilla, can you at least fight back?
No. Why she not fighting back?
At least something. At least fight back, something.
Get up, bro. Get up.
Yeah.
She went on vacation. She came home in a box. She was naked. She couldn't defend herself. And everyone in that room watched. That's where this story begins. Not at an airport, not with a group of laughing friends packing their bags, but in a bedroom inside a luxury villa in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, on October 29, 2022. A 25-year-old woman, completely vulnerable, being beaten. And the people who were supposed to be her closest friends, some were recording, some were cheering, and at least one was doing the hitting. Here's what makes this even harder to sit with. Her mother didn't find out the truth that way. Her mother was told her daughter died of alcohol poisoning. They packed up her luggage. They flew home, and they left Shanquella Robinson behind, physically, emotionally, and in every other way that matters. But here's what they didn't count on. That video got out, and the world lost its mind. Stay with me through this entire story, because we're going to go deep. The people involved, the psychology behind it, the investigation that went nowhere, and the questions that still don't have answers. Because Shanquella Robinson deserves more than a trending hashtag. She deserves someone to actually tell her story the right way. And before we go any further, if you're new here, this is Mistora Crimes. We go deep into the cases that shake your faith in people. We don't do this for shock value. We do it because these are real human beings, and their stories deserve to be heard. If you believe that too, hit that like button right now. Subscribe. Click the bell. Because every view on videos like this is a reminder that someone is still paying attention. Shanquella's family is still fighting. The least we can do is keep her name alive. Now, let's talk about who she was. Shanquella Robinson was from Charlotte, North Carolina, and she was 25 years old when she died. But when you talk to the people who actually knew her, her parents, her real friends, people from her community, they don't lead with facts. They lead with feelings. They talk about her laugh, her energy, the way she made a room feel different just by being in it. She was a businesswoman, a hair care entrepreneur in an era where young black women were building empires out of nothing, using social media, using hustle, using creativity. She wasn't just dreaming about a future. She was building one, and she was doing it in her 20s, which means she had decades of potential ahead of her. Her parents, Salamander and Bernard Robinson, have described a daughter who was warm, driven, and deeply loved. You can hear it in every interview they've given.
Yes, I'm here for Shanquella Robinson. Shanquella was my daughter. We loved Shanquella. Shanquella had a family that loved her, and she was an amazing child. And she loved people. She did no wrong to no one.
These aren't parents performing grief for cameras. These are two people who had their world collapse in a single phone call and who have been trying to put it back together ever since. Not for themselves, but for her. Now here's the thing about Shanquella that matters to understanding this story. She trusted these people. The 6 individuals she traveled with to Cabo, they weren't strangers. These were people she considered friends, people she had history with. And that matters psychologically, because it means whatever happened in that villa wasn't random. It wasn't a stranger attack. It was something that happened inside a circle she felt safe in. That's the part that should make you pause. Because the most dangerous betrayals don't come from people we're afraid of. They come from people we've let all the way in. So let's talk about the trip. And let's be honest about what we know versus what we're still piecing together. In late October 2022, Shanquella and 6 friends traveled to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. On the surface, it looked like a normal group vacation. Young people, a luxury villa, a destination trip. The kind of thing you'd see on Instagram and feel slightly jealous of. The group included Dejani Jackson, who has since legally changed her name to Amani Green, along with Alice Hyatt, Winna Donovan, Malik Dyer, Khalil Cook, and Nazir Tyree Wiggins. Now here's where I need you to pay close attention, because the timeline of that Saturday, October 29th, is where everything unravels. According to the police report, a doctor was called to the villa around 2 p.m. The friend's story to the doctor? Shanquella had been drinking too much. Alcohol poisoning. The doctor showed up, found her unresponsive, and she was pronounced dead shortly after. That was the story. Clean, simple, tragic, but not suspicious. An accident. They flew home. They brought her luggage. And they told her mother that her daughter drank herself to death. Let that sink in for a second. They sat across from a grieving mother and said, she drank too much. But a Mexican autopsy told a completely different story. Shanquella Robinson did not die of alcohol poisoning. She died of a severe spinal cord injury. A broken neck. You don't get a broken neck from alcohol. And then the video. It spread across social media like wildfire in November 2022. And what it appears to show is not a sick woman resting in bed from too much drinking. It appears to show a woman being physically attacked in a bedroom, punched in the face, in the head, in the neck, while she was naked, while others were present in the room. People watching that video heard someone off camera say, and I'm paraphrasing, that she couldn't even fight back. She couldn't even fight back. That sentence tells you everything about the power dynamic in that room. Now, let's talk about what happened after that video went viral, because this is where the story gets both more infuriating and more psychologically fascinating. Mexican authorities launched an investigation. They identified a suspect and issued an arrest warrant in November 2022. They described the cause of death as a spinal cord injury consistent with blunt force trauma. They announced they were working with Interpol to track the suspect down. The world was watching. It felt like justice was coming. It didn't come. No arrest was ever made in Mexico. The suspect was never brought in. And over time, the urgency seemed to fade on that side of the border. In the United States, the FBI and the Department of Justice launched their own investigation after enormous public pressure. Shanquella's parents, civil rights attorneys, social media activists, all of them demanded answers. The case was too visible to ignore. But in April 2023, federal prosecutors closed that chapter quietly. No federal charges. Insufficient evidence, they said, to support a prosecution. And here's what the FBI documents, over 100 pages, many of them heavily redacted, eventually revealed when they were released. The FBI had sent a list of 11 questions to Mexican prosecutors back in January 2023. Basic questions. Questions about security camera footage, the identity of the property owner, the 911 audio, the medical examiner's records. Critical questions that could have built a case. The Mexican prosecutor never responded. Or if they did, that response wasn't included in the declassified files. Think about what that means for a moment. 2 countries, 2 investigations, and somehow the result is nothing. No charges, no arrests, no accountability. A woman with a broken neck, a video the whole world saw, and the system looked at all of that and said, we don't have enough.
We just heartbreaking how we seen a video of her being brutally beaten and no one has been arrested yet. Someone should have been arrested right after the video was released.
Amen.
But unfortunately, that this Shanquella, no one has done anything about it. No one helped her when she was in there being brutally beaten. They telling her to just fight back, fight back. Someone should have had sense enough to step up and help her. Or stop the fight, but they didn't. They continued to watch it and laugh and killed my child. And I need justice from somebody. Somebody need to be arrested for this. You know, we can't sleep, we can't eat. You know, we have barely holding down a job because we're not getting justice for her. She needed justice. She can't rest either. And I need people to stand up.
Can you tell me how you found out about it?
I found out through a phone call. I got a phone call saying that, and really, when I got the phone call, they were saying she was alcohol poisoned. She wasn't responding. Really, Shanquella it wasn't no such thing as alcohol poison. Later on, when the video came out, they called me lying, even came to my house lying. Didn't know that a video had been leaked out.
My Lord.
And we just heartbroken. You know, we just don't know which way to go, which way to turn.
Here's a theory that a lot of people in Shanquella's community have raised, and I want to present it as exactly that, a theory. Some believe that the international nature of the case created a gap that both governments were willing to let exist. The U.S. said it happened in Mexico. Mexico stalled. And in that gap between two jurisdictions, justice got lost. Not because it was impossible, but because no one fought hard enough to find it. Whether that's true or not, the result is the same. The Cabo Six came home, and most of them went back to their lives. Let's talk about the people specifically, because this is a true crime channel, and we go where others won't. The woman identified by Shanquella's family's attorneys as the primary attacker is Dejani Jackson, now going by Imani Green after legally changing her name. Let that sit with you. In the middle of a high-profile murder investigation, the primary person of interest changed her legal identity. Now, people change their names for all kinds of reasons, but the timing here is impossible to ignore, and her behavior since hasn't exactly screamed innocence. Private investigators hired by the Robinson family reportedly surveilled an address connected to her in Hartford, Connecticut. They found her car. They never found her. Her legal response to the wrongful death lawsuit: she denies participating in any altercation. She's seeking to have the case dismissed. The other 5 members of the Cabo Six have largely avoided the spotlight. 4 of them, Alice Hyatt, Wanda Donovan, Malik Dyer, and Khalil Cook, have filed motions to dismiss the wrongful death lawsuit on technical grounds, arguing the case should be tried in Mexico, not North Carolina. Here's what I want you to think about psychologically. You have a group of people who witnessed something or participated in something, and not one of them comes forward with the full truth. That's not a coincidence. That's a collective agreement. That's a pact. Whether it was spoken or unspoken, those 6 people got on a plane together, agreed on a story, and told that story to a grieving mother. That requires a level of moral detachment that is genuinely disturbing to consider. Psychologists who study group dynamics talk about something called diffusion of responsibility, the idea that when responsibility is spread across a group, each individual feels less personally accountable. It's why bystanders don't help in emergencies. It's why people stay quiet when they should speak. And it may be part of what explains how a room full of people watched a woman get beaten and no one, not one person, intervened or told the truth afterward. Now let's talk about where this stands right now and what Shanquella's family is still fighting for. In October 2024, a wrongful death lawsuit was formally filed against all 6 individuals who traveled with Shanquella. The allegations are clear: that Dejani Jackson physically attacked Robinson, and that the others present failed to intervene, failed to get proper medical help in time, and actively participated in covering up what happened afterward. The lawsuit includes charges of wrongful death, battery, negligence, conspiracy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Then in April 2025, attorney Ben Crump announced something even larger: a federal lawsuit seeking $100 million in damages against the FBI and the State Department. The allegation is that federal agencies were negligent and failed to conduct a diligent investigation into the death of an American citizen abroad. A federal judge dismissed some of those claims in June 2025, but the family has not stopped. Salamandra Robinson, Shanquella's mother, has given interview after interview, and every time she speaks, she says something that stays with you. She's asked how a video went viral, how the whole world saw what they saw, and still no one's been arrested. What kind of system is this? She said, and she's right to ask. On the 3-year anniversary of Shanquella's death in October 2025, Ben Crump and attorney Sue and Robinson issued a statement calling the lack of criminal charges not just heartbreaking, but unacceptable. 3 years. No arrest. Not one person held criminally accountable. And here's the thing I keep coming back to. Shanquella's mother was lied to immediately. She didn't just lose her daughter. She lost her daughter to a lie. And then she had to fight through grief, through bureaucracy, through international red tape, through legal motions and dismissals and redacted documents, just to get closer to the truth that the whole world already saw in a 30-second video. That is its own kind of violence. So let's close with the questions. Because on Historic Crimes, we don't just tell you what happened. We ask you what you think. And this case raises questions that I genuinely don't have clean answers to. Why did no one in that room stop it? We can talk about diffusion of responsibility all day, but there's a line between failing to act and actively choosing not to. Someone held that phone steady and recorded. That's a choice. What does it take for a group of people who knew this woman, to arrive at that place? What happened on that trip before the cameras came out? Were there earlier signs of tension? Earlier moments of cruelty that everyone ignored? And if so, what does that tell us about the relationships Shanquella thought she had? Why has the legal system failed so completely? Is it jurisdiction? Is it resources? Is it that Shanquella was a young black woman, and the system simply did not fight as hard as it would have otherwise? Because that question has to be asked. It has to be on the table. We've seen cases with far less evidence move faster. We've seen far less viral moments produce arrests. Why not here? And what do you make of the name change? Of the evasion? Of 6 people going back to their lives? Does that speak to guilt? To fear? Or do you think the truth is more complicated than what we've seen? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I mean it, your perspective matters here. Are you convinced this was a premeditated attack? Do you think others in the group were more involved than the lawsuit currently alleges? And do you think justice is still possible, or has too much time passed? Let's talk, because Shanquella Robinson deserves a conversation that doesn't end. Her mother is still fighting. Her father is still grieving. And somewhere out there, the people who know exactly what happened in that Cabo villa are still walking free. If this video meant something to you, subscribe to Mistora Crimes right now. Click that bell so you never miss a case. And share this story, because awareness is the one thing no legal system can take away. Every person who watches this is another voice saying her name, and her name deserves to be said. Shanquella Robinson, 25 years old, Charlotte, North Carolina. Gone too soon and not forgotten. We'll see you on the next case.